The Galactic Academy's central creche had never been quiet before Mira arrived. For 3 cycles, the facility had housed the offspring of the galaxy's most formidable species, Vraxian war princes with bone ridges and venomous spurs, Kelthori cubs whose crystalline hides could shred steel, Cynthian hatchlings that breathed plasma at 3 weeks old. The creche was built like a fortress with energy shields, reinforced walls, and a medical team on permanent standby, and every single day, it was chaos. Commander Derek had seen battlefields quieter than the creche. As the Academy's security chief, he'd fought in the Epsilon Wars, held the line at Caraxes Prime, and negotiated truces with species that communicated through ritualized combat. But nothing had prepared him for 60 alien infants screaming in unison, until the human came. Mira was unremarkable by most standards. No claws, no armor plating, no bioluminescent threat displays. She was a maintenance technician, transferred from the human colony ship Perseverance to assist with the Academy's aging environmental systems. Soft-skinned, small-framed, with dark hair pulled into a practical bun and perpetually tired eyes. Derek first noticed her during a routine inspection. A Vraxian cub, Prince Thalrex, notorious for his aggression, had escaped his enclosure and was rampaging through the corridor. Bone spurs extended, shrieking a challenge that made the walls vibrate. Security drones deployed. Derek reached for a neural suppressor, then Mira simply knelt down. "Hey there, big guy," she said, her voice soft but carrying odd authority. "That's quite a roar." "You must be very frustrated," Thalrex charged. Derek's hand tightened on his weapon, but Mira didn't flinch. She opened her arms and impossibly, the cub stopped inches from her. His bone spurs retracted. His crimson eyes simply looked at her. "It's okay," Mira murmured, gathering 200 pounds of infant apex predator into her arms. "Let's get you back, yeah? I bet you're hungry." Thalrex made a sound Derek had never heard from a Vraxian, a soft, trilling chirp. He nuzzled against Mira's shoulder. Within moments, she'd returned him to his enclosure, identified that his feeding schedule had been delayed, and left as casually as she'd arrived. The staff stood in stunned silence. "What just happened?" Derek finally said. It became a pattern. Whenever Mira walked past the creche, the noise level dropped dramatically. Cubs pressed against viewing panels, tracking her movement. The Kelthori twins, who had injured 4 handlers, would settle when she hummed while working nearby. The creche administrator, a 6-armed Peluvian named Kess, began requesting Mira's presence during critical situations, code for, "The cubs are being cubs and we're losing our minds." A Cynthian hatchling having a meltdown would calm when Mira spoke to it. A Kelthori cub refusing medication would open its mouth obediently when she asked. Even the anxious Feryx larvae would settle when Mira sat nearby, reading equipment manuals in a steady voice. "How are you doing this?" Derek asked after she'd convinced a dozen predatory infants to lie down for nap time simultaneously, something the staff considered impossible. Mira looked up from her environmental panel, genuinely confused. "Doing what?" "That." He gestured at the peaceful creche. "They respond to you," she shrugged. "They're just babies. Scared, frustrated babies in a strange place, surrounded by people terrified of them. They sense that fear. You're not afraid? Of them?" Mira smiled. "Commander, I raised 3 kids on a colony ship during a reactor crisis. These little ones are cranky and have sharp bits, but they're not malicious. They just need someone to see them as children instead of weapons." Derek thought about that. Vraxians were bred for war. Kelthori were territorial from birth. Cynthians were living plasma generators, but Mira saw babies. Just babies. The crisis came 3 weeks later. Mira took a scheduled rotation on the outer rim, repairing life support systems. She'd be gone 2 days. The creche descended into pandemonium within 6 hours. Cubs who had been sleeping through the night started screaming. Thalrex bent the reinforced bars of his enclosure and wouldn't calm down. The Kelthori twins synchronized their crystalline resonance, shattering every glass container in the medical bay. By hour 18, the creche filed an emergency request for Mira's return. By hour 24, the Academy Council declared a facility-wide crisis. Derek found himself in the council chamber, explaining the inexplicable. "You're telling me," Council Prime Velox said, "that our multi-million credit childcare facility is dependent on a single human maintenance worker?" "Yes, Council Prime. That's absurd. Yes. Council Prime, bring her back. Now." Mira returned 32 hours after leaving, confused about why her routine maintenance had become a priority emergency. The moment she entered the creche, the screaming stopped. Thalrex's chirp of recognition echoed through the chamber. The Kelthori twins' dangerous resonance shifted to purring. Even the Feryx larvae emerged from their darkness pods, oriented toward her. Mira looked at the exhausted staff, the damaged equipment, the council representatives witnessing this phenomenon. Did something happen? She asked. Derek, who hadn't slept in 2 days, started laughing. The Academy Council implemented new protocols the next day. Mira's schedule became essential personnel priority. The creche staff rotated around her shifts. Her nap times became mandatory quiet hours facility-wide. An Earth-style rocking chair appeared in the creche, custom-built to accommodate whatever species wanted to curl up with her. And Mira became the most important person in the Galactic Academy. Not because humans were stronger or faster, but because sometimes the galaxy's most dangerous creatures just needed someone who saw them as children.